Welcome to today's edition of Life Notes. Thanks for joining us. If I were to ask you to draw a picture of the typical American family, what would it look like? Today the family comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Many decades ago, a typical family consisted of a mother, a father, and kids. But by the 1960s, more families consisted of a mother or father and kids. And since the turn of the century, more and more families include parents of the same gender, or a single parent with children, or couples with kids or without kids, or unmarried couples living together. It's just difficult to draw one picture that's typical of all families. So let's look at elements of strong families, whatever the shape your family may be. Now, while we're talking particularly about families today, many of these same principles can be applied to all kinds of relationships. So even if you're not interested in building a strong family, I think you're going to find these notes to be helpful. So let's get started, okay? Every successful relationship involves commitment. It doesn't matter if we're talking about business or sports or families. One of the differences, for example, between highly successful teams and a pickup team for basketball or baseball is commitment. You see, the players in a highly successful team are committed to one another. And the same thing is true in the family. Throwaway relationships are destroying America's families. Parents, we must demonstrate to kids what commitment looks like. Life's not a beach vacation. Life is a journey with a lot of twists and turns and a lot of ups and downs. And like exploring in the wilderness, partners are better if they stick together. Now, when I speak of commitment, some of you hear me talking about the other person, someone else. But listen to me. If you're in a relationship, I'm talking about your commitment. You need to take personal responsibility for making your relationship a success. I understand it takes two people to have a relationship, but a highly meaningful relationship takes two committed people who are going to cooperate together for the good of the relationship. So you need to take the lead and be the first to be committed to your relationship. A highly successful family not only involves commitment, it also involves good communication. There is no community without communication, without good communication. And good communication requires giving someone your attention. Listen to me now. This is a revolutionary idea in this age of digital media, because you can go anywhere and you will see people giving more attention to their cell phone than to the people around them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're walking down the street, whether you're driving a car, whether you're sitting in a waiting room someplace, or whether you're eating a meal together. People will be texting someone else. Good, healthy communication involves listening as well as talking. Our first priority in communicating with someone is not to be analyzing the problems and while they're talking and seeking to honor solutions, but to listen. Remember this image. You catch a rabbit by its ears. We have two ears and one mouth, and we need to listen more than we talk. Because when you listen, you're drawing the other person into the relationship. Gary Chapman, a marriage counselor, says, marriage is a relationship, not a project to be completed or a problem to be solved. We must be willing to give advice only when requested and never in a condescending manner. Now, I'm a guy, and this is very difficult for men to understand. But we need to hear it because we are prone to be fix-it people. You tell us your problem, and we'll tell you how to fix it. Well, we need to listen. When I was studying communications at the university, we had a class on leadership for a small group. And the most difficult idea to get across was the need for everyone to have an opportunity to be heard. You see, every group has talkers who need to learn to listen. And the same thing is true in many marriages. Now, a nonverbal form of communication that's sorely needed in our impersonal culture is human touch. People need to be appropriately touched. You see, we have 5 basic senses, but touch is the first sense to be developed before we're born. And did you know it's the last sense to be lost at death? Studies of babies deprived of touch show that they're more prone to illness and even to infant death. Part of the pain experienced by seniors or the ill or the disabled left alone is the anguish of not feeling the touch of another human being. Professionals call this skin hunger. Children of all ages need meaningful touch, particularly from a father figure. And this is one of the reasons why children love pets. Even if they're stuffed animals, they want to touch and to be touched. Now you can imagine this unfortunately opens the door to all kinds of inappropriate touching and unhealthy relationships. So we must teach our children what is appropriate and what's not. And unfortunately, as we can tell from the media, we evidently need to be teaching adults about appropriate touching as well. But you see, Jesus touched all kinds of people. He was not afraid to touch the unlovely or the broken or even the outcast. Regular instances of affirming physical touch give meaning and build closeness in relationships. Even in a professional relationship, a handshake or a pat on the shoulder or an appropriate embrace can help build community. As Christ followers, we should be examples of healthy relationships. Now, not every relationship is a good one, and not every marriage is a success, unfortunately. But Christians can show how redemption and recovery work. The Bible teaches us much about healthy relationships, and we need to be sure that the biblical principles, the biblical picture of good relationships is magnified in our culture. Well, there'll be more to talk about regarding building families, so I want to continue our notes on this topic the next time we're together. But until then, I'm praying for you to have a God-blessed day.